Welcome back to Mastering Risk. I am your host, Dr. D. Today, we're going to talk about why honesty and integrity matters in this chaotic episode and life of the 2020s. So sit back, grab yourself your favorite beverage. Let's get at it. All right, welcome back to the podcast. Thanks again for joining us here on YouTube or on Buzzsprout, however you may be following our content. It's a pleasure to have you here. My name is Dr. D. I am your host, and today we want to talk about honesty and integrity. You know, the old definition is integrity is what you do when nobody's watching, how you behave as a person. In business, people like myself and like you who are an entrepreneur, a solo entrepreneur, a micro entrepreneur, a small business owner, or somebody who's sitting on their couch thinking, you know what, I think I'd really like to start some type of side hustle, maybe to make 5 or 10 or 25 grand. And that's reality. Refer back to my last video that I did that talked about the reality of the $1 million a year is a lie. So few people ever reach that level that the reality is it's yours mission to create a 5-figure business. Imagine $35,000 more for your family right now. How would that look? How would that be life-changing? It would for the vast majority of Canadian, North American, and international listeners that we have. So it's the reality. And that kind of leads into today's conversation about trust and honesty and integrity. The business is full of people who are simply trying to get money. Their job, as they see it, is to separate you from your wallet, to get your credit card deets, to upload, to get you on a subscription model, whatever it may be. The product's not what you thought it would be. The returns are exceptionally difficult. The emails go unanswered, or it takes forever for the credit to come back to your credit card. We all have incredible stories like that. And if you're a small business owner like me, you understand that honesty is everything. And so today we want to go over about 5 or 6 things that are incredibly helpful for you as a small business owner or a new entrepreneur into the field about what you can do to create that world of honesty and integrity, and so that you'll be seen as believable and trustworthy. And so the first thing is that honesty builds trust and reduces buyer hesitation. I've been brutally honest since the beginning when I started this company 5 years ago. I need to earn your trust before I can reasonably expect to have you spend money on my website or buy any of my products. So I produce twice weekly videos, twice weekly podcasts, and somewhere around 300 to 400 different independent pieces of social media every week. And now I do that because I'm adding value to your life free of charge. I'm demonstrating both my intelligence and my knowledge in the space, my ability to articulate a point and to communicate what I think is helpful information for you as a solo entrepreneur or a new micro business owner. And so when I say up front that there's no hidden fees, that there's no capture, that I'm not going to hook you into something that you don't want, I then can't go and do that. Because that's all it takes is to reduce buyer hesitation. So if you're a small business owner and what you're trying to do is sell a product to somebody, you want to come across first as a trusted individual. Now, being a professor and a researcher, I know that the data shows us that you as a consumer average about 11 touch points with a business before you feel confident enough to purchase from that business, because humans buy from people they trust. They engage in relationships with people they trust. Now, yes, there are a lot of emotional purchases that happen. I get it. Absolutely. Behavioral economics is a brilliant field. But by and large, you will buy from somebody you trust. If you get a sketchy car salesperson, even if it's the car you want, you're probably going to go to the other Chevy or the other BMW or the other Subaru dealership, because what you're looking for is a trustworthy human, somebody who you believe is telling you the truth. And honesty is all about saving the truth for reality. And what I mean by that is telling people exactly what your product does and what it does not. A lot of sellers have this desire to hype up, to build up the amazing, incredible things that their product can do, when in fact the likelihood of success is fairly low. And what happens is your consumers don't become repeat buyers. You get and you persuade somebody to separate their money, they buy your product, and because your product offers some part of efficacy, there really isn't a justification for a return. And what happens, though, is they're not seeing the outcome. And so your follow-on purchase, your follow-on offer, the offer that you come with to your confirmed client, to a prospective next purchase, is always going to be zero, because the client's experience with you is the product you produced didn't deliver, right? It wasn't their lack of effort. It wasn't their lack of commitment. It was that the product you created did not live up to the hype. In other words, when I say on this podcast and on this YouTube channel and in all my material, my goal as a risk mitigation guy is to reduce your risk, but I can't get it to zero. I can't prevent bad things from happening to you. I can give you great strategies for fighting through the bad day. And the strategies I tell you are based upon what other successful groups did during similar events. So we know this strategy has been successful in the past, but I can't guarantee you it will be successful for you, right? So I view that as I'm being honest and upfront. Now, because I'm not guaranteeing 100% success, some people are going to walk away from purchasing. And I would rather that you walk away from purchasing a digital course from me, because I'm not guaranteeing success. Because if you think there's any guarantee to success in any product, then obviously you're being swindled by some business owner. So the first thing is it reduces buyer hesitation. It has a little bit of what we refer to as a longitudinal process, which means it takes a bit of time to build the trust in the customer. But when the customer has trust in you and they buy, and your product delivers a reasonable facsimile of what they expect, then there's a high degree of likelihood that that customer is going to come back. And there's something in business called LTV. It's your lifetime value of your customer. And your CAC, which is your customer acquisition cost, is your cost all in, on average, your total ad spend, your total time on the internet, divided by the number of new customers, tells you how much money did it cost me to acquire you as a customer. My role is I pay that fee once, but the lifetime value is I want to offer great products to my customers, not just once, but on a repetitive basis. I want my customers to see value in what I produce. I want my customers to have good outcomes from what I produce. And I want them to come back for the next iteration or more. Or on my subscription product that I have, that they stay subscribed to it. That they see the value that happens every month. And that they see it's worthy of the money they expend. Right? That's lifetime value. I say I would rather take a month or 2 or 3 months to earn your trust, to have a lifetime value of $1,000, than to try to swindle you into buying my $99 course on solo entrepreneur. You buy it, it didn't turn out to be what you thought. I made $99 off of you, but off you go and you don't come back. The second one, where honesty matters, is because it influences your legal and reputational risk. And I talked about this before on the last podcast when we talked about the damage that can be done from cancel culture and the damage that can be done when you as a business owner grab your political ideology and jump on the internet and start screaming about the world around you and what your political and cultural views are. And then you isolate 40 to 50% of the possible customer base because of your political views that have nothing to do with your product, but you've chosen to amplify that online because you feel like you need to get something off your chest, etc. If I serve that customer and my $99 solo entrepreneur business course doesn't deliver what I say it delivers, that individual can give me a poor reading, a poor Google review. Now, one or two may not matter in the grand scheme of things, but that one reputational risk represents a lack of snowball. Now, snowballing is a term in sampling in research. So if I'm going to use snowball sampling, I'm going to pick you. You buy the product, I'm going to get you to refer me to the next one, and that person buys my product, and that person refer. So the snowball is where I take the existing customers and use those customers to get the next customer. So friends of theirs, often called word of mouth. It's the most powerful way to grow your business. But if I don't deliver a trustworthy, valuable product to my customer, then what is the point? Because that customer is not going to turn around to his friends and, hey, your business is doing really, really well. What changed? Hey, listen, I took this great course. It's short, to the point, accurate, evidence-based. It's not flashy. The guy knows what he's talking about. It only cost me $99 or it cost me $197. And I really implemented some of the things they said, and they're working very well. That kind of thing gets that individual's friends to at least inquire on my website and maybe purchase my goods. But if I don't deliver in that course like I say I do, then that individual is likely going to say, hey, I tried a couple of things. It was dumb. Listen, there's this guy over there. If you run across him, just delete and move on. Swipe away. He doesn't know what he's talking about. That can kill your long-term reputational risk. And there's always legal risks, right? I live in Canada. We're less litigious than the United States of America. But as a business owner, I have to carry millions of dollars of liability insurance. It's called general errors and omissions insurance because I say things honestly. But if I misspeak or somebody interprets what I say a different way, and they think I did something wrong and they sue me, I have insurance to cover that, to cover the end result lawsuit. I mean, in the end, I still have to pay legal fees, etc. But these are costs, and you can get tied up in some pretty nasty reputational, draining legal battles over product and product claims. And if you have a claim in the health industry, you can start having real harms that somebody might try to associate with your product. And then it can be end of business days, right? So if you're honest and upfront about your product and very crystal clear about what it is and what it accomplishes and the likelihood of success, then you reduce the ability for the world to harm your reputation because the cause won't be there. And the third one is differentiating in oversaturated markets. For example, if you're a business coach, right? I sell business coaching. I don't advertise it other than what I just said. The point is that if you want me as a business coach, ask and we can figure that out, but I don't sell it. I don't sell it overtly because there are thousands of them. The internet is saturated with people saying they're offering coaching, internet coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, join up for my strategy class, small group coaching. We're going to get you from A to B. It's a 3-week program. The world is full of them. So how do I, if I'm actually looking for coaching, how do I differentiate? Honesty and integrity is the key to that, right? I'm not going to waste your time. This is what I do. And I'll give you a prime example. A friend of mine he doesn't coach anymore, but he used to offer the no BS, in your face, unapologetic, challenging you and making you feel uncomfortable style of coaching, right? It's what he offered. And he charged $200 an hour. And he would get in your face and he would look at you in the camera and say, you've got to change. If you're not going to change, there's no point in us carrying on this conversation. You're wasting your time and my time. That's not your persuasive, fuzzy coach who's going to hug you and tell you everything's going to be all right. And that just over time we'll work on this together and get through, right? He differentiated himself because of the type of service. Other people differentiate themselves because they say, hey, listen, this is what I do, right? So I work in a very niche space. I work in risk management and preparedness education to build resilience for small and medium businesses and micro entrepreneurs. I don't work with big businesses. Now, I have some great friends and some brilliant colleagues who work with big businesses, who run multi-billion-dollar business continuity plans for multi-billion-dollar companies, right? If you're looking for that, that's not me, but I'll refer you to the people who do it because I know these are trusted individuals. So within that network, in an oversaturated market, you look at how do I differentiate? So if I'm looking for an auto body shop, right? So a Class A mechanic is going to be able to fix my 10-year-old car. But which Class A mechanic am I going to? Because my town has 15 of them. Well, I'm going to go to the one that's trustworthy and honest. It's like when I was getting some renovations done in my house in the bathroom. I was like, and I was almost to the point where I was getting angry at some of the contractors. I was saying, I don't care about your price. Obviously, price matters, but I want value. I want to know whether you're the type of tradesperson who would bring your family and friends over to my house to show them the quality of work. I want somebody who cares about what they do and is honest and transparent. And then I want somebody to say, this is the vision, this is the drawing, it's a $17,000 project. Would you like to go forward? I want honesty and integrity. Everybody's a Class A mechanic. But I want to know when I bring my car to this individual that they're going to actually tell me what's really wrong with it. They're going to tell me what I have to do now. And then they're going to tell me what I can wait on, but will have to be done later. Imagine that honesty and integrity in the internet business. That's a differentiator for you. It's something that you can separate yourself from all the other actors and say, hey, I'm honest, which is why I talk about I mitigate risk. I don't eliminate it. You can't. I can give you great advice based upon the evidence. This is what has worked in 10 situations similar to yours before, but I can't guarantee you it'll work in the 11th. But because it worked in 10 previous, the odds are ever in your favor that is going to be true. But that's the best that I can do. I can't do anything more than that. I can give you guidance on the 4 areas of risk in reputational, strategic, operational, and cyber risk. If you're looking to build an entire cyber architecture in your new company, I can give you guidance, but I know the people who are experts in that, and I will refer you to them, right? I'm honest about my limitations and what I can and cannot do, and I am honest about where my expertise lies. And that makes me a differentiator in a saturated market of people sitting here on YouTube who are saying, just listen to us because we have all the solutions, right? I'm the guy who scaled companies to $1 million. No, I didn't, right? I'm the guy who scaled a company from 0 in my 50s to a healthy 5-figure company. And I'm pretty sure you'd be happy with 35 G's extra a year on top of your current salary. That's where I sit. If you think you can turn your idea into $1 million, Alex Hormozzi's your guy. I follow him, by the way. I have all of his books and I think he's brilliant. But there's a whole bunch of other people who are promising you, 1-year turnarounds to $1 million. Follow this, this dedicated scheme and I'll get you 10,000 subs on YouTube in 210 days or whatever their project may be. I'm telling you reality. I'm going to get you to 5 figures. And I think that's pretty cool. The next one is honesty fosters the long-term relationships. Now, I talked earlier about lifetime value. That's the economic view. What I'm talking about here is the customer relationship and the trust view. I want to be a trusted source to you when you have issues or problems or challenges within a small and medium business. And so I created the product to do that, but I have to make sure that continues to add value so that we build long-term trust, right? Some of my clients I've known for 5 years, right? The business has been around 5 years. I think our oldest client is a little over 4 years. And I've been working with that person. I know them, right? And they know I know what I'm doing. We've built trust. We've built honesty. There's integrity there. They know what I can and cannot do. They know what I'm an expert on and what I'm absolutely not an expert on. But they trust me knowing that if they ask that question and I'm not the guy, I will find the girl who knows the answer to that question. I will find the expert and put the two of them together. And no, I'm not expecting a referral fee in the background, etc. I'm doing this because I want to help the individual, but from a business perspective, I want you to be my long-term client. I don't want a one and done this. I don't want you taking a $99 course and then disappearing into the ether. I don't want you downloading 4 or 5 of the free products we have and then never hearing from us again. It's about building a long-term relationship. You may jump on it, and this is on our one highlighted product, which is our only subscription model that costs $84 Canadian a month. And what it is, it's a risk management subscription. So what you're buying is a micro piece of a full-time risk manager for your business. We send out information every 72 to 96 hours into your inbox. We give you weekly videos specific to a type of risk, talking about what happened in cyber risk in the last week, a 5 or 10 minute video. And then every month we have a 2-hour Zoom call where everybody who's on the subscription model comes in. And we bring in an expert and we talk about something specific, but then you have an open floor question and answer, not by email, but by live. Myself, an expert, or just myself, depending on the topic. Again, if I'm the expert, I'm okay. If I'm not the expert, I'll bring the person in. And we talk about up to 2 hours or longer sometimes for all of the questions that the small and medium business owners have. This is access, micro access, to an expert that would cost you probably, $140,000 a year to have on staff, or $25,000 to $28,000 a year to have on a retainer in your business, right? So we offer that. There's limitations to that, but it's a niche topic that provides people up front for businesses that want access to expertise in risk mitigation, cyber, etc., but they don't have the money, or they don't want to front the $5,000 to $10,000 to get a full cyber assessment done, or all of these different things that you can do. But they want to know, yeah, I can chat GPT it, I can open AI, I can jump on X and use Grok, I can use Claude, I can use all these different AI and ask all of these questions. But if you're like me and you're a small, medium business owner, you're running at 100 miles an hour. And even if you had the time to look into risks through OpenAI, are you the person who knows to interpret those results and what to do with them? And so we offer that service. But that's about building long-term customer relationships. And I put it on a subscription model because that's ideal. Because if I'm not maintaining the trust with my customers, where do they go? They just unsubscribe and go away. And they cancel the subscription. So it's a wonderful way of saying I have to regularly and consistently earn and maintain your trust and deliver the quality product that you expect on an ongoing basis, or you go away. And I think that's fair. I think you should go away if I fail to meet that standard. So that's why I think that model really, really works. And then we put a scarcity limit on it, and we put 50 people into that model. And we only do 50 because it's very difficult. If I have 250 clients on that subscription model, yeah, that's great. I've got more money, but I lose my ability to provide quality service to the individual. I dilute the expertise. I dilute the value to my customers. Again, long-term relationships matter. You had a CAC, which is your customer acquisition cost. You expended a certain amount of time, effort on content or advertising money to hook and get a customer to come into your business. Why lose them? Why let them go? Why not continue to provide them incredible value so that you build that long-term relationship? And the end is authenticity. Authenticity matters in today's world. The internet is full of a number of nefarious actors who are trying to sell you something. And I'll give you one thing that I fell for. Now, there was this ad on TikTok about, if you stay 7 seconds and, help my daughter's business. And it showed or the story purported to show this young lady who was trying to start her own business making Star Wars mugs, right? And she was handcrafting them, and I'm like, those look really cool. It was $50 or something like that. It was, it was money, but it wasn't too much money. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to support her. It turned out all of the mugs are made in a factory in China. Likely there was no young daughter or father combo that created this. However, the product was a good quality product. Like, it was a solid, great mug. Fantastic. I'm going to keep and use the mug. But I'll guarantee you, I will never buy from that product again. Or I'll never fall for that type of advertising again. Right? There is no long-term customer value there. Right? Because what they sold me, the product was okay, but the methodology got under my skin. It lacked integrity. It was dishonest. And so because of it, I will never go back. And a lot of people feel that way, and a lot of the comments are the same. It's not the guy's daughter who's starting a business. It's not the grandfather who's just trying to make little links and little chains out of metal to try to put on. It's not the grandfather you're watching for 8 seconds to save his chicken farm, right? All of these things are hooking people into dishonesty. But if you're upfront, authenticity is what will win the day. For example, I have a conversion rate of somewhere around 3%. It's not bad. It's probably a little less than average. That means for every 100 visitors that come to my website, 3 decide to download something. Those other 97, it's my job to make sure that my website is laid out properly, that it's authentic, that it tells the truth, that it doesn't hype things up more than they should, that it's visually appealing. And so regularly I have friends and colleagues that'll go in and have a look at my website when I make changes, and they'll feedback. I'm hoping the 97 go, hey, this is pretty cool. I don't need this right now, but I'm going to bookmark it. Because if I need to talk about, if I want to think about preparedness, or if I start that business I'm thinking about, this is somebody that I want to come back to. And that's the kind of authenticity, right? And I drain it in. I've been upfront all along as to who I am. I'm a 55-year-old veteran. I started an entrepreneurial business upon my retirement a couple of years ago. I'm trying to add value into a space that I saw a need for value. I am who I am. I am unapologetically me. Authenticity matters to me. It is my role to build trust with you. If I'm not your cup of tea, fantastic. I wish you the best of times. I wish no ill will on anybody. But I'm an expert in a very specific niche. I've published several books on this. I have a podcast with over 380 episodes in the topic. I'm a professor. I teach 3 graduate courses a year in the field. This is who I am. That gives me a stage upon which to speak the voice. But I've said repeatedly, if you're interested, sit down, listen to the content, watch the content on YouTube, and decide after a few, spend some time with us, spend some time listening to our products, look at our content, then make a decision to buy. I don't need you or want you to make a rapid decision. That's not the intent here. When we talk about risk management, we talk about protecting something that you find exceptionally valuable, be it your family, your business, your entrepreneurial dreams, or just life in general. And so because that is so important, we want you to make an informed decision, which is why when you go to our website, www.preparednesslabs.ca, the link is down in the notes. If you go up to the top and hit catalog and then sort by price, the first 6 or 7 items on our, and almost 30% of the content on our website is free of charge. They're all free downloads. Just go on the site, plug in, get the download, free of charge. It's my way of showing to you, hey, I'm authentic. I know what I'm talking about. And just in case you're unsure, here's some great pieces of information that talk about what we're about. Download the free stuff, jump onto the podcast or the YouTube channel, watch the material, and then determine, is Dr. D a trustworthy source in this field? I purport to put everything out and be honest. You have to decide whether you trust me. And when you do, and you decide to make a purchase of one of my products, that is my responsibility to build that long-term relationship with you, not because I'm trying to eke money out of you, but because I'm trying to provide a value and a service to you to support what you do, because business is all about value. And I'll end on this. I had a boss once who told me, if you're ever going to be an entrepreneur, sell to the people that have money. And what he was talking about is the type of people who haggle on price, consistently and regularly haggle on the price of everything, is likely not the type of customer that you want to do business with. You want to provide value, and the price is what it is. This is what it costs for your value. And the best phrase that I was taught by an advisor early on in this entrepreneurial business is, if somebody says, can you do it for less? Your answer should be no, but I can most certainly do it for more. It's all about value. Don't shortchange yourself. You be honest, have integrity, be your authentic self, tell the truth, tell what your products can do and what the realistic outcome are. But don't disbelieve that you are the expert in your niche, that you provide incredible value to your customers, and that the price is just the price of that value. And if people say, I've had people say to me, your $197 course is too much, it's too expensive for me. And I'm like, fantastic. Then continue to consume our free material. The podcast and the video will be up twice a week. I put about 2, 3, some weeks, depending on how well things are going, 400 pieces of individual social media. Consume that. And when the value is represented, that the $197 course is within your budget, then please acquire the course, right? It's not a question of offering a discount. I didn't have a Cyber Monday or a Black Friday sale, right? Because the value is what it is. And if you don't perceive that value, then stay with our free material. Because again, if I can offer this material to my clients or potential future clients and you find value in it, the likelihood is that we'll build that social capital, we'll build that relationship, and you'll come back. So hopefully you enjoyed this conversation about why trust and honesty really matters in business. And if you want to make it your differentiator, then you can separate yourself from the masses that are just after profit. Thanks again for joining us here. Drop by our website, www.preparednesslabs.ca. All of the material is there. Take care. Stay safe.